types of scams maybe marketed towards youth, and how can they avoid them? I think especially with the influencer marketing, that those are specifically targeted to youth, but what other scams might be targeted towards youth? How can they avoid them?
So on all of the marketing practices I talked about, obviously can target youth, but there's obviously other types as well. So for example, subscription traps could be one. Employment scams. So employment scams, subscription traps, non-delivery scams. Those subscription traps is, again, you're sort of lured, you're on a site, then you're lured on a subscription, free subscription. Next thing you know, you're locked into this subscription that you can't get yourself out of, right? And so what the advice we give to youth and consumers generally is, I say, take five. You know that expression, take five. Wait, even just 5 minutes to stop and think before entering your credit card information, right? And then I say, be skeptical. Question statements and slogans that seem, quote unquote, too good to be true. And thirdly, I'll say research. Do online research for a company or a product with the words complaint and scam. You never know what you're going to find, right? It'll help you potentially identify some issues. So do some comparison shopping if the product is available elsewhere. Those are some of the things I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I'll just add here, Carson, is the advancement of technology, right? So that's moving at record speed, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
AI generated deceptive marketing is also growing for us. And the
Oh.
problem continues to increase. And we see this. AI can be used to quickly produce texts or emails or messages in the style and language of a specific person. It can be used to even clone someone's voice. And in just minutes, it can be used to make fake images, audio, or videos of real people. Yes, even you and me. And
Yep.
it can, and what the dangers here is it can be used to impersonate a well-known company or a personality or a public figure to promote a fake product or a service, imagine. And people actually believe they're trusting in that personality, that public figure. Or
Mm-hmm.
they can be also used to like generate a convincing fake investment opportunity, or they can be used to make chatbots that spread, fake reviews that sound, again, that really look like real people when in fact they're not. So AI is also causing quite a bit of disruption for us.
Yeah,
You
generative
know,
AI is
yeah.
something that, we've been talking about within our team as well. And um, myself and another one of our team members is working with Ophia on a project for that. So it is very like a lot of people don't really know that AI has been around a lot longer than people think. It's the AI that we're seeing today more so is generative AI, and how that has a lot of implications, especially for artists, content creators, celebrities, just people who decide to put themselves out publicly for their own creation. Things can get freebooted, things can get stolen, your likeness can be used
Mhm.
without your permission, and it's scary. It is really scary.
It is scary. Deep fakes is something we look at. So it's part of, again, the practices that we look at in terms of impersonation. And when you have someone like a public figure that you respect and that you admire and you follow, and if they're promoting something, a fake product, you could fall victim to that, and you fall into the fact that maybe this is a legitimate endorsement, and it is problematic. So what we say, again, trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right. If something seems fishy, check names and logos on websites for authenticity to see is there something different. Stay
Yeah.
informed about AI and frauds. I say research, read, discuss with family, friends, colleagues. Be informed. It's
Oh
really
yes,
about information.
definitely discuss with people, because I won't say too much about it again for people's privacy, but I was speaking with one of our team members about the situation that I was kind of hinting at throughout this podcast, and their partner was going to like use the service, and I said, okay, well, this is what you need to be careful of, because this is what happened to me. And they were shocked. They had no idea. Most people don't have any idea, because you know they, it's very easy to kind of like hide those things sometimes. And maybe they are like editing reviews, or you never know. You never
Mhm.
know. So you got to like, again, trust your intuition on these things, because I didn't listen to mine in that moment. And I
Yeah.
regret that.
But that's great that you shared your experience, because I also know that some people, when they fall victims to scams, they feel a bit embarrassed by it. So they don't want other people to know. So they don't share it. And so someone else becomes victimized as a result. So it's really important to be courageous and to share your experience with others, because then you prevent it from happening to someone else. And so that's, I think, really, really important to say there.
Yeah, it helps that I'm too open of a book in a way. It kind of lends to this job. But yeah, definitely when it's important to speak out about these things that they're happening to you, please tell somebody, especially if you are a youth. It can be hard to go through these experiences by yourself. And you're not alone in this. Like I've been scammed so much in my adulthood, in my childhood. It's ridiculous. It's out there. And youth and the elderly in particular are
Yes.
huge, like are like big chunks of the demographic that are particularly victimized because of vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better, Carson, for sure. Youth and seniors are the two of the most identified vulnerable groups. And when we launch every year, we launch a fraud prevention month campaign. And we often say, remember the 3 R's: recognize, reject, and report, right? And on the reporting side, we know that only 5% of Canadians actually report frauds. And again, it goes back to what I said, because they feel embarrassed, or the amount of, even sometimes the amount of money they might have lost was not significant. So they say, oh, well, it was a small amount. No, we need to share that, because if you report it to law enforcers, then we can do our job and we can continue to take a closer look, dig deeper, and see what we can do to prevent. I always like to say knowledge is power. I always say that
Yeah.
knowledge is power. And the Bureau, I think, does a really good job in terms of giving consumers information that they need to make these informed decisions on purchasing products, or they're, in reviewing these kind of practices. And just on that, I mean, if you look at our website, we often will release what's called consumers and business alerts. So on issues that are prevalent in the environment, if there's things happening on Valentine's Day, for example, romance scams. Well, we'll start issuing alerts on romance scams to be careful, to watch for those things, right?
Yeah.
Black Friday, these things again, Cyber Monday, all of these key events in our calendar where people might fall victim to frauds and scams. And we try to issue alerts on artificial intelligence. We issued alerts again, sort of again, identifying the things that people should be aware of in terms of impersonations. And so, keep a close look at our website, because we put out a lot of good information. We also have the Competition Bureau YouTube channel, where we put forward, informative videos on different types of deceptive marketing practices and scams and other competition related content.
Yeah.
And we also publish what's called the Deceptive Marketing Practices Digest. Which is, again, it's a very good publication, has articles and features opinions, and offers perspectives on key advertising and marketing issues that, Canadians and consumers and businesses should be aware of.
That's really good to know.
If you want to hear more stories, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. To support more youth by youth led projects, visit us at youthspeak.ca, where you can donate and spread youth mental health awareness.
YouthSpeak Charity. Speak, inspire, change.